us?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? All right. This is a wonderful occasion, and I thank you all for being here. I'm just totally gratified to see all of your faces. And so, our first thing on the program is going to be potting Bill. When I got Bill's ashes back, well, there's a story. He wanted to donate his body to medical science, and they have a place. Hospice says there's a place that you can go that will take the whole body. You don't have to worry about cremating or anything, and what we will use, and otherwise we will cremate the rest of it and give it back to you. And it's called SWIBA. So that's what we decided to do. And then Mary was with me the night that he passed, and so she was my wonderful support during this among many other people, but she was with me the night that he passed. And so then I went to the funeral home, and they said, "Oh, here he is," because after he was cremated, they handed me this box, and she said, "Oh, he's really light." Which is just exactly what Bill would have wanted, because he wanted to be used up. And so there's not much. In fact, we just opened him today. And that's all that's left. So, thank you, Swibba.
She's growing things in it. We're gonna play.
Ellen has got some beautiful seeds that people have sent her sympathy cards, and they're going to go in with the ashes. And she's also got a plant that she grew from seed. You don't what? All right.
I have a bunch of seeds. So these are tree seeds. Those are tree seeds from the tree. That's good.
Well, we don't want her to blow away. There's not enough of them now. We can't let them blow away.
Now we're watering it.
Okay. Is it warm water?
That's right. Does it look warm?
Put a little lavender oil in it.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
It will get more attention later. And
Bless you, Bill.
bless you, Bill. So thank you all, and thank you, Mary, for being there for me. And so the next person on the program is Allison.
And Ellen was number 4 and the best. And Bill and I had 20 really interesting years together. And watching Bill and Ellen in the last 15 years have the most loving, beautiful relationship was healing and wonderful to watch. And because they are who they are, and I guess kind of who I am, we were family. We are family, and my family extends to my stepson Eric, who came to visit Bill and me when he was a boy and took a real risk that his father, who was so estranged from him, would be welcoming. And he called up one day and came for a visit, and then we didn't see him for a while. And then he called up one day and said, "Can I move in with you?" From the Northeast. And we said, "Of course." And Eric bloomed in his life. And it's been so interesting to watch two artists, Bill going from graphic art to fine art, and then Eric following, not in his father's footsteps per se, but being a graphic artist and blooming. I wish you could see his art. And Eric, Ellen asked me to do something that will give me such pleasure. If you could come up here. Bill, as many of you know, was not the neatest person. He certainly was an extraordinary artist, but I think probably what he needed was a maid. And, when you're an artist, you just don't come equipped with maids. Or the clean gene. He also didn't master the skill of putting together his portfolio well, or like so that it stuck together. But I have Bill's, I don't, but we have Bill's portfolio that that is so filled with his magnificence. And I wish that he had been here to give it to you. But I'm like the proxy because I'm so privy to so much of what was in it and watched it. And I hope that we'll have time to share different aspects of it together over time, But he loved you so much and loved the artist that you are and that the man you are. And I know that. Yeah.
So. Oh my God. As I say, it's not real pretty.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay. So this is very impromptu. Yeah, it was a difficult relationship I had early on with my dad, as many do. And I hated him for many, many years. For leaving our family and me when I was 9. And I realize now that was him and my mother. It wasn't about me, but it still felt like it had been for a long time. And I had a seminary professor say to me, you need to know your father for yourself through your own eyes, which is why I moved here in 1997. Amongst other reasons, but that was one. And those first 5 years were still kind of rocky, still kind of not real comfortable with him. But I think when he met Ellen, you all experienced that too. Ellen has a beautiful way of being in the world, and I think that brought a huge amount of peace, I think, to my dad. So these last, 5, 7, 8 years have been really nice. We would go out for breakfast and do different things. It's amazing to me to see all of you, because I don't know you people. I've heard of stories, I've heard of people. He had such a rich social life, and that's really, really beautiful to see. So I will appreciate your stories. I will appreciate your stories of his life as you share, because it's a part of him that I did not know. And I'm glad for you, and that you knew him that way.
Got a call from his first son, and I barely knew him. He lives in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and he wanted to say that, he said, Bill, you're a great dad. And Bill couldn't hear the whole conversation, but one of the things he said, you gave me all my loves, my love of carpentry, my love of the ocean. And one thing that I found most remarkable is that he said, I found, one time we were watching Jacques Cousteau, and there's he was wearing this air tank, and there was some kind of air tank in the studio where they were working, and Jerry said, well, could I put that on? And Bill said, I don't know, that's kind of big. But he let him do it anyway, and that inspired Jerry, and he ended up teaching the military. He wasn't in the military, but he taught military people about diving and mixed gas diving, whatever that is. But those who know are impressed. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know that that was the first son that we don't know very well. Okay, and I believe the next person, this is a family community that Bill had, and there was a theater community, and so I'm going to ask Priscilla Marquez to please. I asked her to speak because she probably had the longest time associated with him.
Okay, I'll stand back here. Let's see, where is Eric right now? Where are you, Eric? Oh, he went that way because I feel like I'm speaking to him. There you are, Eric. I feel like I'm speaking to you since this is a part you didn't know about your dad. So my name is Priscilla Marquez, and I was the executive director of the Catalina Players for around 20 years. Leslie Miller was the artistic director for just about as long. And this is my husband, Edmund. I asked him to come on up because I met Bill, many 30, 40 years ago at St. Francis Methodist Church up in the foothills. And it just by accident, really. I went to see a show by Bill Middleton. He was doing a single-man show. And after the show, I noticed that Bill had been standing in front of this beautiful podium, wood-carved, beautiful podium. So I went up to him and I said, where did you get that? And he said, well, it's styrofoam. And I said, what? And he said, it's styrofoam. And I went up and I looked at it. This side was white and that side was beautiful. And I said, where did you, how, oh. And he said, this man by the name of Bill Galbraith put it together, designed it. And I said, my God, this is just amazing. I've never seen anything like that. And we had started our theater group like 6 years, more or less, around that time. And we needed, of course, a set design. You know, theater groups need everything. Yeah. So he said, well, he's here tonight. And I said, oh, my God, can I meet him? And so he introduced me to Bill, and he showed me the piece and how he did it and all this stuff. And I was just amazed. And I said, would you by any chance have a little bit of time to help us with our set? And, you know, a little bit of time means, do you have a lot of time to help us do what we need to do? So, yeah, so he was with us for 20 years at least. This is one of his designs here of the Rainmaker. And we'll put it on table, you can see it. But he would bring drawings like this to me, and he'd say, this is what it's going to look like. And it did look exactly, it looked exactly like that. So he did many, many plays for us. He did Heaven Can Wait. And it was, I don't know if some of you came to the show, but he did a locker scene. Oh. That's it, Heaven Can Wait, right? Yeah, he did a locker scene, and it was just styrofoam, plain old styrofoam, but he put on the side, and all the clothes were coming out of the lockers, and people literally thought there were clothes coming out of the locker. And then he did a bookcase for us where books are coming out of the bookcase, and he did so many magical things. We even had, I think it was Pinocchio, wasn't it? That we did it, and he did the street of Pinocchio, a styrofoam this way, styrofoam that way, and it just looked like you were going into, the Pinocchio land. So Bill was with us for a lot. We had parties. We got together here. We had that wonderful Halloween party. I did bring some pictures, and I'm going to put them over here on the table, but I mean, he made us look good. He really did. He elevated us. Actors always need that one special elevation to just do better every single time a show happens. And that's what he did for us. He always came up with ideas. He gave more than we could ever pay him to do. We just couldn't. But he was just magnificent. We'll miss him a great deal. And I can just sense him here. I see him all over this yard and all over the house. And you know that he touched everything here. So, he was an amazing man. Yeah. Oh, that's right. We did go to ATC because he worked at ATC for a while. And he said, come on over to the set. We're building, I don't know what set it was, and we went over, and it was beautiful, as usual. And then he worked at Old Tucson for a while, and we went over there and saw his work. So we kind of followed him around and saw his pieces. So that was his experience with a theater group, and many theater groups. I know he helped a lot of them. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, Priscilla. And another community that Bill was part of was many faith communities, and I've asked Martha Shute to speak to that a little bit.
Thank you. Well, I feel a little inadequate to speak to Bill's spirituality because I know so many of you have experienced just that. I don't think that anybody could actually meet Bill and have a conversation or even be in his presence without feeling the strength of that spirituality. It touched everything about him and everything he did and everything he said. And it was interesting this morning at Temple, Reverend Christine Fassetti gave a sermon about Sai Baba, and she referred to his motto or his mantra, love all, serve all. And I thought how completely appropriate that was, because that is my experience of Bill and Ellen Galbraith. They've treated everyone in their path with the same kindness and openness, and are always of service. And I know he started at St. Francis in the foothills. Then when we first came to the temple, my husband Darrell and I first came to the temple, we followed Hoyt Robinette to the temple. But Bill and Ellen are two of the reasons that we stayed. And then I know they blessed the United Fellowship Chapel in the same way. And I think another way you could see his spirituality is in his art, and in that way he had of making something very simple be so incredibly beautiful. And that was one of his spiritual gifts, is finding that beauty in the simplest of materials. And when we're sharing our personal stories, I've got a really good one that I want to share with you. I know that we'll probably be here all night with us each, because I think that Bill just touched each one of them, us in that way. But actually, by learning how light he was before he was planted, I don't think that there's a better description of Bill and his spiritual path than that. He really walked the path of light. And that's the path he shared with Ellen. Ellen's continuing that path, and I just feel so very fortunate, and I know I speak from all of us who worked with him or interfaced with him on the spiritual path, that because of him, we walk the path of light. Thank you.
And it is my privilege to introduce Fred Smith, Reverend Fred Smith, who Bill mentored with every Sunday and every Wednesday. He went to Fred's classes, and if he didn't go, he let Fred know he wasn't even going to be there. And I mean, I'm going to let Fred explain, because they really had a wonderful relationship.
Thank you. I'm Fred.
Oh, stand behind.
Yes. This. Yeah, I got to put it up here, huh? Not used to that. So this is a celebration of Bill Galbraith's life, and each of us had a segment of his. I was privileged to be instrumental, perhaps, and very close to him in terms of his spiritual development over the last 10 or 12 years. I think when I met him, Bill was a spiritualist who didn't really know he was. That much closer, huh? Yeah. I love the coaches in the back row.
May I suggest, if you can project, maybe stand in the center and just project without the mic? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll try this for a little while. If we have too many glitches, I'll do that. when we first encountered in this spiritual development kind of way, we had we clearly talked about everything you experience begins with a thought somewhere, and it's your thought and your experience, and pretty much you invent it. Well, that didn't go over easily with him, especially since he was focused on all the bad stuff that ever happened to him that was outside. He wasn't quite willing to take any responsibility for the inside part of that. But as we talked and as we worked